Okay, so when we were looking at the signs, we saw the beginning of each sign of the cardinal signs was the strongest point, the middle of the fixed was the strongest point, and the end of the mutable was the most mutable point. But the end of the mutable and the beginning of the cardinal, the most adaptable and the most driving, is at the same point. They adapt so much it becomes a dynamic of the other. So there's ends up being 8 sensitive points in the zodiac. There are 8 sensitive points, really sensitive points in the houses. The ascendant line of consciousness, the ascendant, descendant, the line of power, the midheaven and the IC, and the 4 points in between. So we just really divided the distinction between one half. So you have the first house is just its own way, third house is its own way, the second house is in between, a mix of both. So these are a little bit more fixed. So the energy, the middle of these of the succeeding houses will be almost the strongest point or the most fixed point of that. But even when something's in an 11th or 12th or 2nd or 5th or 8th house, you want to see which side, the self-conscious or the motivational thinking in the 11th house determines which friends you have or enemies. When you're looking at trust and sharing resources, you want to know if it's based on relationship sensitivity, if you're basing it on we're related so we can put our energy together, or we're in this job, we're motivated to do this so we can align together because we're motivated. It's 2 different types of sensitivity. And then the same with feeling. The feeling interreactive and having to adjust your feelings to help others or be helped, that's the feeling related. Feeling motivated or feeling secure is the basis, the result of that. It's not so functional. It's really deep within oneself. So often the solutions to find your power, find your energy, is in learning how to build up the quadrant that you're in and build the confidence of it. And sometimes the other areas you're not going to be as strong or as competent or as powerful in. So I'm going to pick up from this at the next time, but you can, when you're looking around the houses and you look by numbers, from here on we get into the numerological side of the 12. There's the first sign in each quadrant, which is the angular houses. There's the second house in each quadrant, the succeeding houses, and the third house in each quadrant, which are the cadent houses. And these are houses of, the angular houses are houses of being yourself, being me, being related, being in a relation, being in a career, being secure at home. Those are the dynamic being houses. We're going to go over this again next week. I'm just going a little bit further. The second house are houses of where you're being someone in the first house, you're concentrating your energy. In the second house, you're trying to use your resources or talents that you have in the second house. I have this identity, I'm using what I've got. I have this security, therefore I can perform and I can use the place to be playful. I have a relationship, therefore can I use the energies of togetherness. I have a job, therefore can I use the status and friendships and build up my social network. So these houses are taught 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so being is the angular houses, having is the secondary succeeding houses, and understanding or transforming are the cadent houses. So the third and the ninth houses are understanding. I understand how to use what I have to put my identity together. According to how I feel and how I'm performing, I can see how I have to transform my performance so I get a better response, so I feel better about what I'm doing. That would be 6th, 5th, 4th, 5th, 6th. 7th, 8th, I'm in a relationship. We have a mutual trust, so I understand how we have to align to be both correct to being together. We have a job. We have certain friends and associations. We can be creative with it. We can be good, bad with it. So I have a position of authority. I have to be responsible with my friendships. And depending on how well my friendships are, how responsible I've been, I'll get the results or the karma. So the 12th house is, if you have a bad job, you're not in a good career, how do you understand to transcend it and to overcome that, and what needs to be done to get out of it, how to get the results of that position. So there's a kind of 1, 2, 3 effect in each quadrant. But you can also go the other way around, which is the way I'll interpret it. You get motivated, you get your ideas from your inner motivation. Out of your deep sleep, ideas come. You start thinking intuitively. You get ideas about what's happening, what's going, where you're coming from, where you got to go. Then it consolidates into what resources are at your hand, and you consolidate it, then you get the result in the image. So if you had a good night's sleep, you had a good dream, you come up with good ideas, you got your clothes already together, you put yourself together, by the time you're going out the door, you're going out the door with a certain amount of confidence. So the ascendant, your image is a result of how well since the time you got up to the time you got out the door. And then as you're going out in the world, if you're going out and you see the neighbor and the neighbor says, hey, how's it going? You say, and you're in a bad mood, you say, what's it to you? Mind your own business. You've already put out bad energy that's going to affect what you're going to accomplish for the rest of the morning. But so the self-conscious thinking, the 12th house, even though it's the karmic ending one way, it's the goodness of what you put out or put, if you're kind or considerate and can put things out, or if you're selfish or negative putting out, you'll attract friends or enemies. And if you're with enemies, you're not going to accomplish much. If you're with friends, you might accomplish more. So your status and respect level is tied to what you project out. And now the same happens the other way. You have 7th house relationship, you have energies of togetherness, and the common understanding of what we're going to do with it. If you go the other way, you have the understanding of your position in the, I'm in this society, I'm in this church, I'm in this position. So if I'm living at this lifestyle, I need to attract someone with the same amount of money or same lifestyle as me. So do I attract a rich person or poor person or someone who believes the same thing as me or not? Depending on what we believe and understand, we attract certain resources or circumstances or demand a certain lifestyle. And then that determines what relationships we get. So if you have different philosophies, often you don't have a very good relationship. It's like, so the principle of the understanding of based on one's status, there's a sort of pecking order of who you attract. And in the 6th house, how you respond or adjust or are of service to people. If you're helping people, even if you're insecure, you're doing good things for others, you get better feedback than if you're not. If you get good feedback, you feel better, there's room to play, there's room to perform, feel good about yourself, and then you feel better and you sleep well. But if you're not, if that's negative, you end up with sleepless nights and poor performance and bad sexuality and difficulty. So there's these cycles all will come in like this. So we can go around this. The traditional way is to go around it by the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and put it around that order. But in the day, the planets actually do move from the 3rd house to the 2nd house. They go from the IC up to the ascendant, up to the midheaven, down to the descendant. So they actually do go around the other way. They actually go in the reverse order of the numbers. Okay, so we're going to come back to this and go over it. I'm just about finished. I'm not sure I want to do too much more right now. I think I covered basically the factors I wanted to cover. I don't want to be adding too many. I want you to really think mostly about rising, setting, instigative, reactive, objective, functional, subjective being. And where are you in this scheme? Where's your sun? Where's your confidence going to come? And then each planet has its own energy that's going to be affecting these different areas too. So for now, just with your sun, which think of the different areas, look at the sun sign or the house position of the sun, of the 4 or 5 charts in your immediate circle of people that you're looking at, and just make some notes of what can you see it? And you might see it from your way of looking, and you might think, I'm always feeling with this person, and you may think they're feeling too, but they're just thinking and not feeling as much. And it seems like they would seem like they're using people more rather than indulging the feeling.